Welcome to Prav. We have now podcast on aesthetics and town planning. We as Indians, whenever see a beautiful place in India, we go, it's so wonderful it doesn't feel like it's in India. This shows we Indians do not identify structural beauty and cleanliness with India. Of course, we do have beautiful and diverse terrain, architectural marvels like temples, caves, palaces, forts, and mausoleums. But the beautiful terrain is nature's gift, not our own creation. Apart from some wonderful structures, we really have not created much to admire. Our towns or cities overall doesn't have that aesthetic beauty which we try to seek in our foreign tours. Now I have never traveled beyond India. I have never been to the lands which I aspire to visit someday. But during this pandemic lockdown, I found a way to tour the world from my home using my computer. There are several tour videos on YouTube available in 4K resolution. Watching them on my 21.5-inch LED screen with headset on stereo mode gave me an illusion of being there. Through the internet, I have toured many places around the world like Vancouver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, London, Prague, Singapore, Bangkok, Buenos Aires, Tehran, Colombo, and Phnom Penh, and even Rio de Janeiro. I have noted some points that stand them out from Indian cities, and how each of them has a unique aesthetic style. This style does not necessarily have to be classical, it can be contemporary too. Before you think it has to do with the country's economy, poverty rate, historical events, or geography, let me tell you, I'm trying to avoid the factors that are not in our control. Every geography has a unique town planning and architectural style, and it has to stay that way. Urban areas can be divided into a business district, an old part of the town, commercial centers, residential town, and suburbs. The business district is where you get to see skylines and towers made from glasses. The old part of the town generally has classical or traditional architecture that is most of the time termed as heritage sites. Commercial centers are where there are malls, restaurants, pubs, and other places to chill. Residential areas and suburbs are where apartments or row houses exist, sometimes with boring architecture, sometimes better. World regions are divided into two parts: the old world that existed in pre-colonial times and the new world which was result of colonization. Eurasia and Africa are part of the old world, where while Americas and Oceanias are part of the new. In the new world, all commercial hubs, business district, residential suburb, and old towns are completely separate. In the old world, you may find a mall next to an apartment. In Europe, some parts of their cities go back to the Renaissance period and even beyond. Hence, much of their well-maintained Gothic, Romantic, Renaissance, Baroque, and neoclassical structures are still standing today. It is said that they too had some haphazard townships built during Industrial Revolution, but those were destroyed during World War and were replaced with a well-planned modern one. Fewer population and better geography saved them from excessive trash and dust in the environment. Therefore, their usual buildings are better maintained than even our colonial heritage sites. North America and Oceania are countries like the USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and others have style distinct from Europe. They belong to the newly discovered world which was colonized and settled much later. Hence, most of its cities were formed after the Industrial Revolution, have a well-planned grid pattern with a downtown full of skyscrapers and suburb with infinite row houses. They all look so much alike that after a point it becomes monotonous. The Gulf states and East Asia. East Asian cities have a style different from the West, even in their modern buildings. Out of other nations, Japan has maintained its distinct style the most. Their streets, building, and town plan display that evidently. But cities like Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Dubai seems to have overdone their development and seems more of a futuristic theme park. They seem unnecessarily giant and unreal. One does not see culture in their aesthetics. In South America seems quite like India. I remember virtually touring through the streets of Buenos Aires. It felt like I was walking in the street of Bandra. Its tropical climate could be another reason for this feel. Rio de Janeiro had also had some areas which had poorly maintained buildings and slums that felt relatable to areas in Mumbai, but yet their main town was well maintained. India's immediate neighbors. Being closer to India, Iran possesses some sort of similarities with Indian towns. Although it does not have its distinct style, Iranian city like Tehran also has buildings with boring architecture for pure functional value. Their shops and bazaars also bear close resemblance to Indian markets. But as their population is in control, the city looks neat and clean. Even the streets and footpaths are well maintained. Similar can be said about Southeast Asian cities like Bangkok and Phnom Penh. Tehran, Bangkok, Phnom Penh have mosques, temples, and shrines after some distance, making it more relatable to India than streets of Europe and the Americas, where one giant church makes up for it. But by far the closest city to bear a resemblance to any Indian towns, can be found in Sri Lanka. Colombo literally looks like how Indian cities would look like if they were clean, well constructed, and clutter free. So, why Indian cities are not as good? It is not just town planning, it is the design, the architectural styles that display the aesthetics of the place. Dust level can be result of its geography and the pollutants in the air through emission, construction, and population, but cleanliness is a result of people's attitude. Considering some social factors, let us ignore the cleanliness and dusty environment. Let us also ignore hundreds of tiny shops encroaching the footpath area, considering it as a result of overpopulation. But it is only in India where one can find such a clutter of advertisements on shops, buildings, and every other place that you can see. Poorly constructed roads, some in tar, some in concrete, some in paver blocks, and some an insane combination of the three can be seen only in India. This has nothing to do with poverty or economic condition. It is purely corruption and apathy on part of administrators. Barring colonial heritages, ultra new mall complexes, and high class residential townships, most of the Indian cities look bland. This attitude towards aesthetic might be a cultural as 18th century Scottish painter James Wales of pre-colonial era mentions in his journal that Indians make such beautiful temples, why can't they make their houses as good? Looking at the current state of India's aesthetic sense, we have a long way to go. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And like always, stay tuned to Pravya now for content related to history, mythology, fiction, and everything cultural. This is Pranav signing off. Tada.